got Ruggs to take the top off, and that Waller kid, he's a problem. Saints had no answer for him. They tried a linebacker, they tried safeties, they tried corner. He was just too big, too physical. They targeted him, I think, about 15 times. He had 12 catches. He's a problem. He made the Pro Bowl last year. He seems to be on his way up. He's trying to get his name in that threshold where you talk about the kid Kelsey, and you talk about Kittle. He wants to get his name mentioned when you talk about those two guys. Hey, Skip, he's very good. Derek Carr, I've never been the biggest fan of his, but I think Gruden has settled him down. They put him in situations because when you can run the football, you can play action off it. And the Saints didn't help their cause with all those penalties, which was very uncharacteristic. The first two games, Skip, they're getting penalties out there, yang. And I know Sean Payton is not happy with that. But if you look at the Raiders, Skip, they were 12 of 19 on third and fourth downs. They were 10 of 17 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth down. That tells me if you can't get a team off the field on third down, you're going to get beat. That also tells me they're possessing the football. 36 minutes time of possession for the Raiders, 24 minutes for the Saints. And so for me, I look at it, the Saints seemed in control of this game. And then Drew threw a horrible interception right before the half. The Raiders kick a field goal. Skip, and when they came out at the half, they stepped on the gas and didn't look back. Yeah, I mean, you want to count that little touchdown late at the end of the game, and Drew got some little mop-up yards. But when they needed him to make plays, he didn't make any plays. And the thing was, he was doing a lot of fishing around the edge. 4.8 yards per attempt. Skip, that won't get it done. And so for me, I don't want to talk. We'll talk about Drew a little later, but I want to give credit to the Raiders. Defensively, I thought Paul Gunther called a great game. Got Drew off his marks. They were hitting out there. They were trying to take the Saints' heads off. Physical team, fast team. It seems to me Gruden has built. He and Mike Mayock has built this team. The way and the vision that they have. They have speed and they're physical. So I like what I'm seeing for the Raiders. Skip, I undervalued them. I did not see this coming.
Okay, I'm going to address first the New Orleans Saints, more specifically Drew Brees. I am not going to write him off just yet.
Right.
And I'm going to remind everyone, for each of the last 3 years, he has set records for completion percentage.
Right.
The first 2 years, 2017 and 18, he set the all-time record, breaking his in the second year. And then he had the third all-time greatest completion percentage last year.
Right.
So it's hard to argue with 74% completion because it's impossibly great.
Correct.
This year he's dropped all the way down to 64.7%. What am I seeing from him over the last couple of years? It just looks like he has to really guts up all the effort in his body to get any oomph on his throat.
It does.
It's like, I just almost have to get a running start to get some mustard on his throat.
It's funny that you say that, Skip, because I watched him last night and he threw the ball out of bounds. Did you see how hard he had to throw it out of the end zone?
Every throw looks like it takes all he's got left just to get something on the ball. He is so smart, obviously. He can be so accurate that he's still going to be a factor and a force through the year.
Yes.
So I'm not saying they're dead in the water because they are not. But he was without Michael Thomas last night, and Traquan Smith is just okay, and I think he was struggling a little bit with him. But more to the point, you love Jared Cook, and so do I.
Yes.
He was really quiet last night. He just had a couple of catches.
Right.
We both love Emmanuel Sanders, and I don't know what's wrong with him, but he just doesn't look like Emmanuel Sanders.
Right. He and Drew, for whatever reason, haven't gotten on the same page.
They're not on the same
One
page.
catch on 4 targets.
He got 1 catch last night, and I can't even remember it because I just kept thinking, where is he? I thought this was his night to rise and shine on Monday Night Football because he has been, in his career, a big night, big game player. Okay, so that's New Orleans. But to your point, I thought there were times in the first quarter and even early in the second quarter, I thought this was going to be 35-14 Saints.
I did.
That's why I can't completely write them off. Now back to your point. They ran into a buzzsaw last night in what they're now calling the Death Star, that new stadium in Las Vegas, which Ernestine and I have driven past as it was being built, and it looks like a Death Star. It is spectacular. It was empty last night.
Very fitting of Vegas?
Yep, very fitting of Vegas, except there were no people there, including Mark Davis, the owner, who said, well, if we can't have people, I'm not going to go. So he missed his first game since he was 8 years old as Al Davis's son, obviously. Wow. So the point is, you got to see on the national stage a coming out party for John Gruden's Oakland Raiders. I'm a big Gruden fan.
Las Vegas now.
Huh?
Las Vegas.
But they're always in my heart. They're going to be the Oakland Raiders because I've covered them my whole life. There's a part of me that's a Raiders fan because I loved Al and I knew him and I was close with him. So they're the Oakland Raiders to me. They just happen now to reside in Las Vegas. But that's okay. But I'm going to still call them the Oakland Raiders because Raider Nation's going to think of them as the Oakland Raiders. And yet I'm a Gruden fan because I also know him and I do believe in him. I've told you, he creates a force field that is second only to the Jimmy Johnson force field that I covered early in Dallas in the early 90s when he created a dynasty that should have gone on and won like 5 straight Super Bowls, but we know what happened between Jimmy and Jerry.
Correct.
The point is, John Gruden is a front runner in the best of all. I'm saying it completely positively. He's a front runner. Give him some front to run with. You got to give him something. And all of a sudden, to your point, Mike Mayock gave him a little something. So let's talk about Darren Waller, who took the game over last night. That was his coming out party on a national stage, even though last year, among tight ends, he had the second most catches and the second most yards to Travis Kelce.
Right.
And when Kelce, obviously when Kansas City made it to the Super Bowl and he couldn't go to the Pro Bowl, Darren Waller got named as the alternate to replace him and had a thumb injury, so he couldn't actually play in the game, so he didn't get credit for being in the Pro Bowl. But that's how good he already is. So what do we see from him? When did I get to know him? Maybe you got to know him. Hard Knocks before last season, right? He was a great story because he got busted by the league twice for substance abuse.
Right.
Don't know exactly what the details were, but he got a 4-game suspension. This is when he was in Baltimore. And then he got a whole year suspension. And he talked open-heartedly on Hard Knocks about, I blew it. I nearly ruined my whole career. And God bless him, I want to knock on wood for him. I hope he's going to stay on the straight.
So do I.
It can be a problem. The demons can creep back
every day.
When you least expect it. But the point is, he's 6'6", 255. Coming out of college, he was not a tight end. He was a wideout at Georgia Tech.
He was the Calvin Johnson, Demaryius Thomas mold. He was that big wide receiver.
Big wide receiver. And guess who said, I want that guy? Ozzie. Ozzie Newsome, still in charge, obviously in power in Baltimore at that point, said, I'll take a 6th-round flyer on him because I see something. And when Ozzie sees something, he is invariably correct about it. And he was correct about this kid until he had the drug issue.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they had to keep him on the practice squad, and Mike Mayock said, I'll claim him off your practice squad, and all of a sudden, going into Hard Knocks, he's a brand new Oakland Raider, right?
Yep.
So what do we see now? He ran, coming out of college, he ran 4.46. Well, he only weighed 240-ish then, so he's put on about 15.
Hey, at that size, that's still booking. 4.46 and 240, that's booking.
Okay, so to me, John Gruden keeps making the point, I will take him over Kittle and I will take him over Kelce. I don't blame him.
Right.
I would too. As a pure pass catcher, you help me. You are in the Hall of Fame at that position. This is pure pass catching. You want to talk about matchup nightmare? They tried everything. They would bracket him. They would double him. They would try their best DB on him. They put Lattimore.
And that's the advantage that the tight end has, Skip. When you have a guy like Kittle, you have a guy like Kelce, you have a kid like Waller now, because of the size advantage. You're talking about 6'6" versus Lattimore's what, 6 foot tall? Or you're talking about a linebacker. You get linebackers to rush the quarterback or thump the runner. You don't get them to cover the tight end or safeties. That's not their expertise. And so this is why these guys, and when they get it going, that's why it's like, wow. It's such a mismatch when you have that guy. Skip, they tried everything. And I'm like, bro, y'all better double him. Y'all might as well say, look, Lattimore, you take a wide receiver, we're going to bracket him with a linebacker and a safety. Because you're trying to go one-on-one, and that's not the answer for him.
Derek Carr has such a wavelength with him. He's so dependent now on Darren Waller that it doesn't matter.